Welcome to Smithtown Report. Today on Smithtown Report, accessing the Greenbelt Trail in the town of Smithtown. Step outside your door in the town of Smithtown and you'll be amazed at what you might find. The Long Island Greenbelt Trail runs through the town of Smithtown and may be closer than you think. The Long Island Greenbelt Trail is a 32-mile hiking trail that runs north to south across Long Island. It is a national recreation trail. The Greenbelt Trail was established in 1979 and mostly follows the courses of the Connecticut and Nissaquag rivers from the Great South Bay to the Long Island Sound. The trail runs from Heckscher State Park in the south to Sunken Meadow State Park in the north. In Smithtown, the trail starts at Town Line Road and proceeds north to Sunken Meadow State Park. Bluffs, beaches, ponds, and pines. History and diversity. This national recreation trail has it all. A variety of wildlife can be seen along the trail. The topography is mostly flat and easily walked by most people. The trail has become increasingly popular with walkers seeking a respite from the busy pace of the suburbs and an appreciation of the richness of Long Island's natural life.
Being out on a trail, I can clear my mind. I can think of absolutely nothing other than where I'm going to be placing my feet on each of my strides. You don't need any mindfulness when you're out in the woods. It kind of does it all by itself. Other than that, it's just a great way of staying fit. And walking doesn't cost you anything. In 1979, a group of people led by Nancy Manfredonia and her husband Peter Manfredonia thought that it would just be a great idea to have a long-distance trail here on Long Island. There were various trails that had been cut and trod upon for years, but there was nothing that was contiguous. They started from Sunken Meadow and on a 2-day stretch, which did include bushwhacking through non-trail, made it to Heckscher State Park.
Well, we first got the idea of the Greenbelt Trail by looking at maps, and we were amazed that the maps showed this green area from the North Shore to the South Shore. It was like little parts missing, but we just sat there and said, hey, great idea, why don't we do a trail? There were no long-distance trails at the time on Long Island. The first thing was we felt we had to get permission from the county. And we went to the Parks Committee and they said, fine, do it. I don't think they thought we would, but we did. We got a bunch of volunteers together and everyone was excited about it and we did it. And once we did it, they were surprised, but they couldn't say no after that. So there was a lot more open space, but luckily because the county had purchased and the state had purchased so much property, thanks to Robert Moses and others, we were able to pull the trail together. Some of the trails were already there. They might have been dirt roads in some of the parks. They might have been something that the local children had used to get from here to there, or it could have been a deer trail. We did have to bushwhack, but not a lot. A major obstacle would involve the fact that we were going through state lands, county lands, town lands, village lands, and all of the villages, the towns, Islip, Smithtown, they were all very positive about it. It is classified as a National Recreation Trail, but it's been here for 45 years now, 46 years, so we hope it'll be here forever. And it gives people a way to appreciate Long Island, the beauty, the different ecology, the diversity of the environment. It's really amazing.
The desire to preserve this precious resource and the volunteer labor for the trail come from members of the Long Island Greenbelt Trail Conference under a cooperative agreement with New York State, Suffolk County, Islip, and Smithtown. A 32-mile path from bay to sound opened in 1979.
The Long Island Greenbelt is a volunteer organization. Whether it be myself as a president, any of our board members, we have 3 sets of trail maintainers, as well as a dozen hike leaders. Nobody collects a paycheck.
The Greenbelt Trail is marked with white blazes. Blazes can be found on trees, signposts, and utility poles. A single blaze means continue straight. A double blaze means the trail turns or to make a turn in the direction of the uppermost blaze. The trail meanders through parks and woodland areas and are connected by sections that wind through residential streets. All major street crossings have pedestrian walkways, and some have pedestrian lights as well.
Trailblazing is a standard methodology. The procedure for doing trailblazing has been pretty much the same for 100 years. Whether it be here on Long Island, whether it be the Appalachian Trail, whether it be any trail, at least in the United States, it's very much a universal methodology for blazing. I mean, it's simple, it truly is. It's either you go straight, you go right, you go left, or you stop. We are very serious about blazing trail because the last thing you want is somebody to get lost. If you're on one of our trails and you've gone 100 feet and you don't see a blaze, chances are you've made a wrong turn somewhere, so you follow your steps back.
When out on the trail, you may encounter different color blazes.
It's probably an alternate organization who might be doing something in that regards. Every once in a while, you'll see something other than a white blaze. We've got high school cross-country teams that blaze specifically their route, which may be on the Greenbelt for a little while, may be off the Greenbelt for a little while. But ours tends to be white for the Long Island Greenbelt Trail, and here in Blydenburg, there's blue for the loop trail that goes around.
Stump Pond in Blydenburg County Park is one of the prettiest spots on the trail. Unfortunately, Mother Nature has altered the path of the trail. On the night of August 18th, the remnants of Hurricane Ernesto dumped 11 inches of rainfall, which led to severe flash flooding. This resulted in the collapse of 2 dams on the Nissaquag River. Mill Pond in Stony Brook and Stump Pond in Blydenburg Park were emptied. Stump Pond was created in 1798 by Isaac Blydenburg to operate the grist mill in what is now Blydenburg County Park. The pond earned its name as the trees were chopped down, but the stumps were left behind. A popular freshwater fishery was wiped out overnight, as well as a portion of the Greenbelt Trail that crossed over the dam.
The breach in the dam here in Stump Pond has caused a few issues with our trail. Generally, you'd be able to go right over the dam into Caleb Smith and the trail would continue. We unfortunately have to add about 3.5 miles to this. You would originally come in on the Greenbelt Trail, you'd come in on Brookside Drive, Right now, what you're going to need to do is, instead of making a right after you enter the trail, you're going to make a left, and you're going to follow the blue loop, which adds 4 miles around the top of Stump Pond and brings you back out on the other side where you would have crossed when the dam was intact. So that will add quite a bit, but we have people that generally do that anyhow, just to get the extra mileage in.
For now, the trail remains altered due to the dam break, and only the future will tell if it is rebuilt. After you exit Blydenburg Park, the trail leads to Caleb Smith State Park, and a gate leads to a crossing of Jericho Turnpike, which leads to another gate into the northern segment of the park. Beyond the state park, the trail dips under a railroad bridge, then passes by Whisper, the famous statue of Richard Smith's bull. From here, the trail continues north down St. John Lynn Road. You'll see a yellow pedestrian crossing sign, which leads to a 35-acre corridor of county-owned land along the Nissequogue. This undulating country, with little rivulets running to the river, can be slippery, but trail volunteers have built a wooden pedestrian walk to make the going easier. From here, the trail uses an easement between private homes to arrive at the back entrance of Sweetbriar Nature Center on Somerset Drive. Sweetbriar Nature Center once belonged to the Blydenburg family.
The access to the Greenbelt Trail actually can be found on our property here. There are 2 ways to get in. One on Somerset Drive and one on the corner of Eckernkamp and Landing Avenue. If you are a resident of Smithtown, you can come to Sweetbriar, park in our parking lot, and we could let you know exactly where you have to go to get to the trail. Down our main trail, you're going to see white marks on the trees, and you make a right or you make a left, depending on which way you want to go on Long Island, and you can access it from here.
I personally have actually hiked the entire Greenbelt Trail myself. I used to do it with their camps, and now I run camps and take kids off into the trails. It makes people start to fall in love with some of the local wildlife and local habitats that we have here on Long Island.
The last leg of the Greenbelt Trail stretches from pleasant hardwood groves to the tidal zone of the Nissequogue and the bluffs of Sunken Meadow. It begins with about 1.5 miles of road walking, some on Landing Avenue, but most on quiet Landing Meadow Road. From here, the trail descends to Smithtown Landing Golf Club and the Nissequogue River. Walk now for over 2 miles on the banks of the river, first past one of the finest stands of lowland deciduous hardwoods left on Long Island, and then parallel to the shore on Riviera Drive. The Nissequogue's estuary can be spectacular when the waterfowl migrate and when fall foliage lines the shore. One of the strangest things you'll encounter on the trail is when you run into Linda's Riverside Pizzeria and Cafe. Seemingly in the middle of nowhere, it's a place on the trail where hikers can rejuvenate with a sampling of Linda's fine cuisine.
The Greenbelt Trail is extremely beneficial. When people are walking on the trail on a nice sunny day, they look up and see this small pizzeria. It's in the middle of a neighborhood, so it's pretty wild. They don't expect it. There's picnic tables right outside. It's very casual. I never take this view for granted. It's beautiful in every kind of weather. It's a great office view. When people are done, they usually stop by and really earn their slice.
After you enjoy your break, continue on Riviera Drive where it meets St. John Lynn Road just below the circa 1700s Obadiah Smith House, now an historic site and opposite Harrison Pond Park. Past here, head back toward the water along the eastern edge of Kings Park State Hospital, which is now part of Nissequogue State Park. When you hit Kings Park Bluff, you are now on the last of the Greenbelt's 32 miles and entering Sunken Meadow State Park. Perched upon the 150-foot bluffs above Long Island Sound, you can gaze upon Connecticut on the far shore and enjoy the breezes. In the town of Smithtown, the trail literally starts at Town Line Road in the south and ends at Sunken Meadow State Park in the north. Before heading out, we suggest that you go to ligreenbelt.org and purchase a trail map. On the map, the black arrows designate public parking areas. Because the Greenbelt is a point-to-point route rather than a loop, the ideal way to conduct a hike on the trail is to use a car shuttle system if possible. Park one vehicle at the end of the planned hike and drive the other to the start. When hiking the Long Island Greenbelt Trail, don't gear up for a major expedition. You need not worry about hazardous terrain or vast tracts of isolated wilderness. A pair of sturdy sneakers or boots and a well-planned backpack will enhance your enjoyment of the trail. David Reesfield offers some insight into what he considers the best parking spots to access the Greenbelt Trail in the town of Smithtown.
The first access point I'd like to show you is at Sunken Meadow State Park. Parking is available at Field 3. When you access a trail through Sunken Meadow State Park, you can take it to the next access point, which will be Kings Park Bluff. The terrain from Sunken Meadow to Kings Park is very hilly and very sandy, quite a workout. The next access point is the bluff at Kings Park. There is ample parking for Town of Smithtown residents. The trail will lead you along the shoreline into Nissequogue River State Park, and there will be a small amount of road walking on Riviera Drive until you get to Arthur Kunz Park, which will take you through to Smithtown Landing, which is the next access point. The access point at Smithtown Landing has plenty of parking. The only issue is that you will want to take that north, as if you go further south, then you will be road walking. My personal favorite access point is right here on Brookside Drive. Parking is available both right on the side of the road of Brookside Drive and across the street in Brookside Park. In my opinion, these are the 4 best access points with parking for the Greenbelt Trail in the town of Smithtown.
There are several other parking areas that offer easy access to the trail. Among them are Caleb Smith State Park, Nissequogue State Park, and Blydenburg County Park. Be aware that some parks charge a fee in season or require residency. After your hike, pause to reflect on the geological ages, the hundreds of years of history, and the wealth of nature all tied together with one delicate thread, the Greenbelt Trail, and make a resolution to help preserve this vital part of Long Island's heritage.
I always am amazed when my husband and I are out on the trail and we meet people enjoying it. It's wonderful, and I'm thrilled that so many people can really see Long Island. And instead of shopping centers and expressways, they can see what Long Island really is and was and still is today.
Having access to a trail that goes 32, I believe, or 34 miles right here on Long Island is super important. Everybody needs to get out there and hike and see what Long Island used to be like.
Protecting these trails is one of the most important parts of helping Long Island, because it kind of is keeping Long Island natural and it's keeping Long Island healthy. It gets people to experience Long Island how it used to be.
Being out in nature, it's got its own benefits. We have people who absolutely swear by being out and being able to calm yourself. You don't need any mindfulness when you're out in the woods. It kind of does it all by itself.
If you'd like to become a member, volunteer, or support the Greenbelt Trail Conference, you can call 631-360-0753. Email is ligreenbelt@verizon.net or visit their website at ligreenbelt.org. For Smithtown Report, this is Cheryl Brook, and thanks for watching.